Okay, so everyone has Pixlr open, and I always select Advanced Pixlr E. You can see that I have a whole bunch of my documents here that I've done in the classes, and we're not going to worry about those. All we need to do is create a new one over here to the left-hand side. And what I wanted to do is, this is really a practice assignment in Pixlr, but when I did it for my other class, it kind of looked like a postcard. So I said, well, let's just make a postcard. Let's just do this web small. I know it's not great quality, but that's okay. This is just a practice. So I'm gonna select web small, and then I'm gonna make the name. I'll just call it postcard. So I have my workspace right here. There's nothing on there. So what I want to do is I just want to add like a background layer. So I'm going to change the name of this by clicking the little dots and call it background. Okay, and I want to add a color to this, and I'm going to get a nice purple. I've got a nice purple here that I'm going to use, and I'm going to use the paint bucket, and I'm just going to dump it right in there. So I've got a nice purple dumped in there. You could do any color you want. So I've got just a layer here with a background color in there, and that's it. And I changed the name to background because I changed the name because it gets confusing when you get a lot of layers in there. So it's good if you start naming them, and it'll be a lot easier on you later. Okay. Now what I wanted to do was I was going to do a Bloomington High School postcard. Now in the other class, we decided that we were just going to make a postcard, and I didn't tell them they had to make a Bloomington High School one. But let's have you guys make a Bloomington High School one. I think that would be good. So we need an image for this. We need some pictures of Bloomington High School. So we can always go to Google. Google's our friend. And what I did is I typed in Bloomington High School, and I could probably put Illinois on there. And I brought up images of Bloomington High School. I think my daughter's in this picture. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick and we can look. Oh, I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure she's in there because it's so small. Let me see if I can do it this way. Hold on. Just getting on sidetracked, aren't I? Let's do this. And that's what the daughter that just called me. Oh, well, I can't see that. Okay, well, now they're just pixels. Where is she at? I can't tell. Oh, I think this is her on the very end. So she's pixelated, but I think that's her on the very end. Okay, beside the point. So let's go back. Bloomington High School, Illinois. Okay, so you can get some pictures of the building, and you can come down here and find some nice pictures. Here's a really old one right here, and here's one of the stadium. So we can see more here, and they have normal community. I don't know why. Bloomington Junior High, a football picture. It's kind of neat. Maybe I'll do like this football picture. That would be neat. So I'm going to drag it over here and make a copy of it really quickly. And I could probably get other pictures here if I want to. And you could find a nice Bloomington one. I've got several of them that they copied, but I copied the blue one, or the football one right there. Here's a really old one. This is like from when the school was first built. I'm going to get the copy of that picture. Very cool. 1959. Look at that. Okay, so I've got some pictures of the building. So let's go back to Pixlr and add a picture. To do that, in layers, we're going to go down to the bottom of the layers palette, and where this plus sign is, we're going to click on that, and we're going to add an image layer. Now all we have to do is pick an image that we want, and I'm just going to pick the first one here. Okay, this is the old Bloomington High School. This is when it was constructed. So you'll notice that it takes up the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my picture smaller here by first zooming out and then grabbing the corner and just dragging it. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to make a postcard here. I could make it the whole thing with maybe like a border around it. I could do that. I could do something like that. Or if I wanted to, I could make it like a small picture like here, or I could put a couple pictures on here. I could put multiple pictures on this. I could do that. And you will just have to decide what you want to do. Okay, don't do everything that I'm doing, because you don't learn anything if you're just copying me. Yeah, so remember, these chats are not private. They're actually on video too. So yeah, the building was actually built in the late 50s and I think opened up in the early 60s. And right here it looks like almost like a big field. But that's kind of cool. Okay, so I've got this building on here, and I got this purple background. I have a border. And again, don't feel like you have to do it like me. If you want to make it as big as the whole card, you can do that. I'm just doing it the way I want to do it. Maybe I could do it this way right here too. If I could do, I could change it if I don't like it. So I've got my picture here. Now what I want to do is I want to add a logo, a BHS logo. So again, I can go to Google. Google's my friend here. And put Bloomington High School logo. And I can get, here's one right here. I got some right here. Some of them are not very good quality. Here's Raiders baseball. But you can look through, and I can click on one and see if there's any that are similar. Like, this one right here is kind of nice. You also, as you get these logos, look at the quality of these. You'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, it has the pixel size, 1387 by 1387. That's a pretty good quality logo. So I'm going to get a copy of that. And then if I see another one that I like, I can get a copy of that too. But I think I'm good. So now what I want to do is I want to add my logo. And if I want this one here, I can just open up a new layer and add a new image layer, and then select my logo. And you'll notice that it is really big. So I'm going to zoom out and make it smaller, much, much, much smaller. There we go. I'm going to zoom back in so I can see what I'm doing. Notice that my logo background is the same as the color that I have for my postcard. And the reason it's the same is because I used this logo last hour. My postcard looks completely different than this, but I used the logo last hour, and I used this color. So if, let's say I change this color real quick, and I'll just dump in another purple really quickly so you can see what's going on. Hold on a minute, background color. Okay, so I got this. This doesn't look very good. And the reason it doesn't look very good is because this box here and this purple don't really match. Now, one way I could solve that is I could go back to my logo. I better name that logo because this long name doesn't work for me. Okay, so I named that logo. One thing I could do is I could get this color by using the little eyedropper. And once I've got that color, I could dump it into the background to make it all the same. Okay, I don't want to do that. And actually, I didn't dump it in the background. I dumped it on the wrong layer. So I dump it in the background. I could do that so it doesn't look like I have the square box around here. Or if I wanted to, I could get rid of that box. And I could go to the magic wand and I could select. Whoops, I want to go make sure I'm on the right layer. So I'm going to deselect this. Do you know how to deselect anyone? Control D.
I do.
Oh, you do? You did know how? Was it Control D, or did you go up to the select up here?
No, I went to the history bar and pushed.
Oh, that's good. Okay. I didn't even think of that, so that was good. Very good. Okay, so I can deselect by, if I have it selected, I can deselect by going to select and then deselect. Or if I have it selected, I can go Control D will deselect it. So I want to make sure that I'm on the logo layer. Remember, if you're working on a certain thing, you got to be on its layer. And if you're not on its layer, then you're going to mess something up. So I go to the logo layer, and then I'm going to get my magic wand, and magic wand, that little background. Notice that I have a little bit of that purple inside the B. So I'm going to hold the shift down and click on that, and I'm going to hold the shift down, continue, and click on the middle of that. Then all I have to do is hit delete. And I'm going to deselect, and then look what happens there. I've got that logo without the background. And then I can move this logo anywhere. I can move it on top of my picture. Maybe I want to move it on top of my picture and it looks good there. You know, I'm not sure it looks good, but it might look good there. I could put it on top of that. Or if I would prefer, I could just make my background that purple. So I'm going to go back because I did that and I really don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go back in my history and go back until I get what I wanted. This is really what I wanted. Okay. Okay. So let's keep moving on. So I've got a logo. I've got a picture. I've got some placement. If I want to change the size of this picture and change the size of my logo or the placement, you can do that. Okay, I don't want to overlap them because remember, I still have my background of that box, and I don't want that. I think that looks terrible. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to add some text. So I'm going to add another layer, but it's going to be a text layer. And I want to say that I want to make this say the home of the Raiders. Okay, and I don't want this color to be the same purple. I'm not going to be able to see it. So let's make it a nice gold. You know what we could do is, I wonder if we could do this. Let me back up and see if we can do this because I have an idea. I'm going to get my eyedropper and get the gold out of this logo. And now I have it right here. Now I'm going to add my text layer. And look, I got the gold in here. So I'm going to type Home of the Raiders. And I'm going to increase the size of this. I want it to be a little bit bigger. Not that big. Okay, and I'm going to move it down here. Maybe I'll move it right here. Also, you know, the words are really close together. I'm not sure I like that. So I think I might change my letter spacing some. So you see I can change my letter spacing really easily by just going up here to the settings and change that spacing some. And I think I'm going to bring the size of it down a little bit. And again, these are things that you just have to kind of try. You know what I don't like is I like the letter spacing, but I don't like the space between the words as much. I don't think I can do anything about that. Unless I could do it, but I'd have to do it manually and it'd take a long time. So I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'll just leave it. Now, if I want to, I could change the font too. I don't want that font. I could try something different. And you just have to kind of look through the fonts and see what you like. So, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out at me. This is kind of neat. Maybe I could change that. Okay, so I've got some font here. I got some text, Home of the Raiders, and maybe I want to say Bloomington High School also. So let's add another text layer. And then we're going to call this one just Bloomington High School. And I don't want it to be the gold. So I want to change this to white, I think. Okay, but look how the white doesn't show up very good. So what I want to do to this, I want to add a drop shadow. I really like the drop shadows, and I'm going to change the color to black, black drop shadow. And I'm going to, and I can change like the position and the opacity, and I might make it a little bit darker. So I'm changing it and making the drop shadow dark, or making it really light. And I want it to be a little darker because I want to see this. I can also change the position on it, but I feel like the position is fine. So, maybe I put this down here like this. Maybe I do that. I'm kind of digging that. Kind of could work for me. I have to kind of just look and see what I've got here. Okay. Now maybe I just want to put like a shape on here. I was thinking maybe like a line under this might look kind of cool. So to do that, what I can do is I can go to my toolbox, and there's a shape palette over here. I can click on that. But what I want to do is probably create a new layer for this first, because if I put it on top of one of these layers, it's like I painted on it and I can't change it. So I'm going to go to a new layer, and I'm going to go an empty layer. And I think I'm going to name this shape real quick. Again, get used to naming them. And I didn't name these yet, and I probably should. That one I named, but I undid it, so I better rename it. Oops. Let's delete that. There we go, logo. And we'll just go with this one. We'll call it photo. Oh, it says, how about HS photo? Okay, there we go. Okay, so that'll make it a little bit easier. So on the shape layer, I'm going to create a shape. And I think I'm going to go with white. I'm just feeling white. And I'm going to click on the shape. I'm just going to do a rectangle. I'm going to draw a shape right across here. Okay, I don't want it to be outlined like that. That's not what I wanted. So I'm going to undo that. That doesn't look good at all. Okay, I don't want it to have a stroke, and the stroke is on this ribbon. So I'm going to make that stroke 0. Okay. Now what I want to do then is I want to try it again. Let's try it again. You know what I think I might do is I might make it bigger. Oops, that one now is purple. I don't want that one either. Let's undo that. Okay, we got to switch these up. Let's try it one more time. Third time's a charm, right? Okay, look, I got a big white box on this. Okay, and what I want to do with this, I want to change the opacity of this. Okay, it looks like I had to change the opacity earlier, and it's not working, but I think what I can do is go to my shape and change the opacity, the shape layer, and change the opacity here. So I could have changed the opacity right here at the top before I made that. Now I have to do it on the layer, which is perfectly fine. It's just another way of doing it. So I'm changing the opacity of that white shape. So look at that. That's a little bit interesting. I kind of like that. I might move it down just a hair, and I could move it anywhere. I could put it in between these. I could put it down here. I could change the size. I could change the angle of it. Let me undo that. I don't want to do that. I can change the size of it. But I really had meant to do this. But remember, if you start to do something and it just doesn't look right, don't worry, you can change it. That's perfectly okay. So I added that there, but this shape layer is kind of on top. I'm going to move it down the line of the layers. I just want to get it moved down. Okay, let me see. I got a message. How do you switch the text color? Okay, so to switch the text color, let's assume that I want to switch here. This on Bloomington High School. I click on it first, but notice at the top when I click on it, that ribbon doesn't show up at the top. And the first time I use this, I'm like, okay, what's going on? I don't know what's happening here. Then I realized you have to click on the text tool on the left-hand side too. then I click on the text tool, then I can change the color. Okay, and that's how you do that. Okay, so that was a very good question. Thank you for that. So now I've got a shape there. I've changed the opacity of it so you can kind of see through it. I moved it down under all this other stuff, so this other stuff was on top of it. I have a logo right there. I have some more text right here. Look how I'm doing some overlapping, and I've got other things aligned with each other. And so I've got some interesting things going on. Now, if I decided that maybe I don't like this logo, it just doesn't work for me, maybe I could bring in another logo. So I want to show you what would happen, and I could try this to see if it looks good. I'm going to bring in another image, and I'm going to bring in this, this logo right here. I kind of like this logo, but obviously it doesn't look like what we want it to look like. So right now I'm going to have to fix this logo a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the background. And to do that, I'm just going to grab the magic wand again. I'm going to select the white, and then I'm going to hold the shift down and select inside the B. Okay, and inside that B, and let go, and then I'm going to hit delete, and I'm going to delete that. Now I don't want it to say investors down there either, so I'm going to delete that. But before I do that, I think I'm going to turn off some of these layers because they're bugging me. Okay, and I just have the bottom layer now. So now I want to deselect, and I'm going to use Command D, or I could go up here and deselect it this way. I'm going to get the eraser, making sure I'm on the proper layer, and I'm going to erase this because I don't want that investor thing. I don't want that. Just going to erase it up real quick. Okay, I think I got it all. Now what I want to do is I want to change the colors of this. I don't like the colors. They don't work with my theme here. I want to make different colors. So let's look at the colors that I got here. I kind of want that gold that I had before. So here's what I'll do is I'm going to turn on my logo real quick where my gold is. And I'm going to get my eyedropper and select that color. Then I'm going to go to this color over here. Oh, cancel. I'm going to switch these here. And I'm going to get, oh, sorry about that. Get my eyedropper. I'm going to select the other gold color. So I have the light gold color and the dark gold color. So I have both of them. But I'm going to turn off that layer again. I don't need to see it now. I thought I might do a gradient in here, kind of like that was, just like a gradient. So let's do this. We have to select the BHS and this little swoosh thing. So to do that, I'm going to get the magic wand and select the outside. Hold down my shift and select the inside here. Then this is a thing I really like, and I have that on Photoshop too. I'm going to go to select, and I'm going to go invert selection. I think on Photoshop it's called inverse, not invert. But I don't remember for sure. So now what I have is I have the BHS and the little swoosh thing selected. Now I'm going to go to the gradient here and click on the top, and I'm going to change my color here. I'm going to go with this lighter color. You know what I might do is just lighten it up even more. Okay, so this color here, one color I want to be light and one color I want to be darker. Okay, so this color here, I want it to be dark, and this color here, I want it to be light. And I think I have to do this. I'm not sure how I get the different colors in each of these. Okay, well, I want to do a gradient. I know that. Then I want to use this color. Okay, so this is not working out quite right. I have to figure out. Go ahead.
I think you accidentally keep pressing cancel instead of continue or whatever.
Oh, let's see. Well, thank you. That would make a big difference. Well, see, I made it lighter, but I want to get one of these And Photoshop has the similar thing where you can change these colors. So maybe if I click on that and click over here, I'll tell you, I'll click on this and then click right here. Nope, that didn't do it. Okay, I've done this before, believe it or not, I really have. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to move these two colors and change them more. No, I don't like that color. Sorry guys, I can't make up my mind, but here's what happens when you do these artworks. You kind of just kind of do them, and then you see how it works. I kind of look at it. So I want this color to be this, and then I want this color to be something else. Oh, did I get it light now? Is it light? It is lighter. Oh, it is something else. I didn't even realize it. I guess I got my color so close that I couldn't tell that one was darker and one was lighter. Might be because I'm old. Okay, so I do have a darker one here. It's darker here and lighter here. Look, as I move these little sliders, it moves the darker closer or farther apart. Okay, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my BHS and I'm going to draw a line, and it gives me my gradient inside this. Okay, so I'm going to change my colors and see if I can impact it a little bit more and see if I can change that gradient. Let's see. I don't know if that's, I don't know if I'm doing anything. Yes, I am. I am doing something. Yay. Okay, so let's try that gradient again. And if you shorten this line up, you see it's really abrupt. And if it's really long, it's very gradual. You can kind of see it there. Okay, I'm getting it. This is kind of what I wanted. Okay, I'm going to deselect. And then what I need to do is I need to make this smaller. Okay, so on the layer here, I need to, whoops, I didn't want to do that. I want to go back to my tool here to grab the size, and I'm going to make it smaller. Okay, and I want to get rid of that purple in the background. I don't think I want that purple. So let's take a look at what we got, and then I'll make some decisions on what I like and what I don't like. Okay, obviously I can't have this white stuff. I got to get rid of that white stuff. So I can do this and make sure I'm on the proper layer, and I could erase it, or I can go and grab my magic wand and delete it. Let's do that and deselect. And deselect. I'm really trying to deselect that, but it's not going. Okay. I don't know. I kind of like this, but I don't, it needs an outline like this one there. So let me turn off some of these layers again. We can leave that one on. Make this a little bit bigger. Let's give it an outline. To do that, I think that I can do it a couple different ways. I might be able to give it a stroke this way, and that looks awful. That's not what I wanted, for sure. But this is a little closer. I know the quality doesn't look really good, and I'm not sure why the quality doesn't look very good on that. Maybe because we selected a size that is really small, 800 by 600 pixels. That could be it.
It sometimes happens with mine. When you minimize a photo, it can sometimes come out as very pixely when you resize it back to its original size.
Yeah, and what happens is you have to look at the quality of the image that you started with. If it's a low quality image, it's going to be pixelized. So I don't like that at all. I don't think that looks good. So I have to decide what I want to do with this. Another way I could do this is I could go to, I can rasterize this element. So I go to layer and rasterize this element, and it makes it more like a picture. And then I think I can go to filter and then add a outline. And let's see if this does better. I don't think it's doing any better. But there are different ways to accomplishing your tasks, and you just have to try some things and just see what works. And I'm not feeling that either. I'm not happy with the quality. The quality doesn't look good. So if I don't like it, I can always just go back and change it. Okay, so I do that all the time with all my artworks. I try something and I get to get it done. I'm like, nope, that's not it. That's not what I wanted. But you just have to try some things and see how it looks. Okay, let's see what time we got here. How are we doing on time? We get done in about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes or so. So if I wanted to, I could add other elements to this too. I could add another picture. Let's assume I wanted to put a little picture right here. I could add another layer and add an image. And how about this image right here? And I could take this and I could put some like little pictures here. Maybe I could put another one there too. Add another layer, image. Sorry about the beeping. That's a truck right outside my window. And I could add this image. Whoops. I don't think that was right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, now, there we go. It is really loud, isn't it? It's a bus. The bus is pulling up. Maybe I could do something like that. I don't know that I like that either. Or I could change the size of this. And I could do some things like this. And I probably would want to put this building kind of in back. So I'm going to move it down the layer list because I want it to be behind. So, I might move it down like that. And so you could see that I can try lots of different things just to see what looks good, and if I decide, that don't look too good, or it's not really what I wanted, I can just change it back. So I could just go through my history and change it right back. Or I can just, change it back however. Okay. So I've kind of got my postcard together. Now, here's how I'd like you to turn it in. There's a couple ways you can do this. Usually if I say just turn this in and I just want to see the finished artwork, here's what I would do. I would go to File and I'd go to Save, and I would just save it as a JPEG and make sure it's high quality, and you download it. And it'll be downloaded in 5 seconds. But you remember sometimes I said I want to see your layers, and often I want to see what you've done with your layers. So to do that, I want you to just do a print screen, and then remember with your Chromebooks, you're going to hold the Control, Shift, and you're going to hit the button on the top row with the little square and the lines, and you're just going to drag over just this window with the layers because I want to see the layers. That's important to me, to see how you constructed it. And that's what you would turn in. So usually you can turn in both. I think it would be good to turn in both of them. Okay. And I've got copies of both, and I can turn those in on Google Classroom. Do you want to see what I did last hour? This is the one I did last hour. It's a little bit different. Sorry. Excuse me. This is the one I did, and it's a little bit different colors. And you see I did the little logo here, but I did some different things with that one. So that's what I did. Okay, so let me get back to it. So that's how I'd like you guys to turn those in.